We are live. So I saw that Alvin Kamara signed a long-term deal with the Saints last night.
Did he get 2 or 3 years? 3 years, right?
I think so. I didn't look up the. I didn't look it up. I just saw it flash across as a headline.
Oh, nice.
So I'm not.
Player.
Yeah. It's a great deal. In this day and age of one and done running backs, one contract and out, to get a third deal and a long-term deal and not just an extension, it was really nice for him.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Fame talent. Should be a lifelong.
Yeah. I think this deal will. Lock him up in New Orleans for the rest of his career.
Yeah, he's been an elite, awesome player. He's like a Nick Chubb. Hall of Fame caliber, Hall of Fame legend. Keep him in. They should both retire in their respective jerseys. It's a dying breed.
Absolutely.
Especially with wideouts now.
Yeah.
And all these guys, Diggs and all these guys jumping ship every couple of years.
Well,
it's a lost art, a dying breed, if you will. The lifelong player, one uniform.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that teams aren't loyal.
Yeah.
If you can get a guy who's going to be equal or better production for less, there's no loyalty. Yeah. And there's so many factors that go into a player's decision to stay or go. You could have, if you have a player who's 33, 34, been with one team for 8 years, but he's 2,000 miles from his parents. I don't know. Now his parents are in their 50s or 60s, and they're starting to get up there.
Yeah, there's other factors.
And now he doesn't really want to be so far away from home that he can't. There we go. And then unclick that.
Yeah, the old hometown discount if he wants to get home.
Well, and it's not just necessarily, not necessarily the hometown discount, but getting closer to home. His parents might. Yeah. Well, his parents might be out in, his parents might be in Kentucky. And so he takes a deal in Nashville for less money. So he can be closer to.
Yeah, his agent, his team can work that out in the families. Sometimes guys will do that to be close, to be in their home state, or like you said, if maybe parents or something. Yeah, there's other factors. It's not just about the money, but the money is the bottom line ultimately. It
really is.
So much more transactional now than it was 10 or 15 or certainly 20, 25 years ago. It's a different landscape. It's much more financially driven. With endorsements, there's so much money to be had now. It's just a cash grab. Guys, I meant hometown discount. I meant that by the players sometimes will sign that. If a team is cap strapped, but that's the destination. That's the destination. The player wants to go. Then the player will compensate that. The agent, they'll take a little less to sign closer to home. That's kind of the idea I was getting at.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. Yes, absolutely.
Kind of like a hometown agreement where, okay, if you want to come home, we'll get it there. It might not be like the incredible, just mega deal, but we'll still get you well compensated. You'll see like a shorter deal.
Yeah.
I think I love when that happens too, but I just like the overall free agencies. It's become fun for fantasy or like GMs like that, but you just don't see the longevity, whether it's baseball or basketball or hockey or. It's less and less commonplace to see the same, to see a Brian Leach suit up for the Rangers for 17 years or 16 years, whatever it is, or to see like a
Eiserman.
It's not as frequent as it used to be.
22 years in one uniform for Eiserman,
Oh yeah, exactly. I was thinking of him. For some reason, I drew a blank. Yeah, all about loyalty on the ice.
And I'm not crazy about loyalty. I get it. Go get your bag. I'd want my bag. loyalty doesn't do anything for me. Um, because if you blow chunks and now we're stuck with you because of loyalty. You know, a guy who's on his last hurrah, but you know he's going to play three more. You know, a guy that's past his prime and is going to drag it out for 3 or 4 more years. When we have kids in the wings, you know, waiting for their shot. Oh, I have no qualms with letting a guy walk and going and getting his bag and taking his talents to South Beach. You know, as it were.
Yeah.
You know, I understand people like loyalty, you know, playing for the hometown, but if you're a if you've been stuck on a crappy team for 8 years, and now you're going into your third contract with no hope in sight. You know, if you're in Carolina, and we know they're a dog shit franchise.
Yeah, Tepper's toddlers.
Yeah, why would you want to stay? You know,
I just thought of that. It's pretty.
You spent.
I'll copyright it. Tepper's toddlers.
There you go.
There. Fiasco. Daycare center. It's not even the players' fault, man. It's poorly run. Some of those players are still playing hard. I get what you're saying last night, but they do. If you watch them, I mean, I guess they waved the flag Sunday. I didn't watch too much of it. I was watching the Eagles finally show up and play a game, so I was kind of astounded. I was excited. But what I did catch in the Carolina, I mean, I don't know. It's just they've lost so much talent, and then when they get these picks, they don't do anything with them. But I mean, you're
right.
When you watch a team that used to have Julius Peppers or Christian McCaffrey, Cam Newton, Greg Olsen, Steve Smith.
Yeah.
They've had some ballers. It's not a total dog franchise. They're kind of rudderless right now, and that first solve the quarterback and then just start from there, because without that you're screwed anywhere you are. But I mean, they get personnel changes. But I mean, that owner, man, it starts at the top, and that owner seems pretty toxic. So not a situation in Carolina.
And it's got to be miserable to be there in Carolina, knowing that the owner is a goober, knowing that the fans expect you to go out there and give 100% every week, just to get your shit kicked in, week in and week out. It just can't be fun.
Drafted by like a couple of your buddies from college team got drafted by like the Chiefs, you know, and then they're living life and you're like stuck in Carolina, just a rudderless ship.
And when you go out there and you gun it out every week, and you're giving 100, 110%, and it's like, why? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You know, I'm out here gutting it out, giving 100%, and we're still getting beat 40-0 at halftime.
Yeah, well, that's guys. You know it is. You know how it is. That's still game tape. Guys are still playing for other spots in the league. So if they're dogging it, they're just not going to make as much on the open market. They can do what they want, but the smart players are still playing hard. Every other scout, every other team is watching talent. So there's guys on a Carolina roster that are playing for paydays or for future starting playoff teams. So it's still, there's career still at stake. You don't want to be dogging it too often, because then they'll be like, oh, why aren't I getting signed next summer? Well, we saw you dogging it week 3 against Buffalo. Like, you know, there's a lot of eyes on these players now. So, I mean, I don't know if they're literally not going all out, but they're a little bit more apprehensive, because you don't want to sell out and get a broken knee or a broken neck if you're down 38 points. So it's just like it's tough to go. It's tough to go all out when you're like, there's no wind in your sails. There's no momentum at all.
Yeah, especially when you're getting dog walked.
Yeah.
And I get it. Going out there playing hard, but at a certain point, it's like when you can't get anything going offensively, defensively, special teams. I was like, why even bother? You know, just phone it in and get off in the next one. We're just going to run 3 straight times and punt.
I would start Bryce Young the rest of the year because you got to find out what you have with him, because otherwise that's a number 1 overall pick. It's not like baseball. I mean, that's a brutal miss. But the further they recognize it as a mistake and move on, then they can start over. Because they have the number 1 overall pick. You got Andy Dalton starting. I mean, it's a ridiculous scenario. He's not the future. He's not the future. So what are they doing? Start someone young.
You know, that's where I was at when they started starting Andy Dalton. It was like, why are we doing this, guys?
Yeah, for like
that was my question.
6 wins, 5 wins. Yeah, no, they have to at least stay young with the quarterback position. No pun intended. They got to go with Bryce Young.
Yeah, I thought so.
Because you got to find out what you have with him, and then if not, it's done. Instead of you're going to keep the guy around just with negative media attention as a bust on the sideline for the next 3 years. Just trade him off for trade him for a 3rd rounder or a 4th rounder or something. Give him the next couple months at least, and then make a move. I mean, it can't be totally done. It can't be total. Maybe someone else will reclaim him and rejuvenate under some other coaching. But they got to at least confirm whether that's a dead issue or if they have some potential. They have to play the guy.
I thought so.
And then just make a final decision and move on. After this year, just get a new quarterback. But you're not solving anything with Andy Dalton.
I understand starting Andy Dalton in a way to kind of right the ship, settle everyone down. That veteran leadership, that veteran presence on the field, a guy that knows the playbook, knows kind of what you're looking for. But on the inverse of that, you also have Bryce Young sitting on the bench, not learning how to play the game. If you were going to do that, if you were going to bench Bryce Young, why start him in the first place so he can go out there for 3 weeks and get his brains beaten? You might as well have not started him in the first place. If you want to say, oops, we made a mistake, Bryce Young wasn't ready, we're going to try. We want to give him some time to develop. We want to give him some time to grow, to learn under a veteran. That's cool. It makes sense. I get that. Why start him for 4 weeks? Let him get his ass absolutely handed to him.
Yeah.
And get all these bad, it's so hard to unlearn bad habits. Once you start developing,
they shouldn't have started him last year. They rushed it out of the whole process, and then I hear what you're saying. Now it's hard to undo it mentally for him to start over. He's like already shattered. So it's like, if you're not ready, it's drastic. Look at Mac Jones. He'll never be ready, I don't think. But I mean, Bryce, number one overall pick. It's like they passed up C.J. Stroud.
But I don't know if we would be. I don't think C.J. Stroud would have done much better, because the thing that C.J. Stroud had going for him was he had a couple of dynamic players, and he had a good running game, a great head coach, a good defense, and an offensive line that wasn't a set of cupcakes.
Yeah. Carolina did invest a little in the line. I meant to mention it last night, but I was looking it up. Panthers do have some decent linemen now, but they drafted a running back, Jonathan Williams, I think. The guy from a Texas running back. I forget his name, but Jonathan Williams maybe. But he's been on IR. So, yeah, the Panthers, and then the receiver room is kind of bad. They don't have a tight end. Yeah, I mean, Texans, you got Dalton Schultz tight end. You got Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon at running back. I mean, Texans are built, and like you said, good offensive line. So yeah, Stroud much better plug and play scenario for Stroud. More ready, more machine ready, more built for the road already.
Yeah, more game ready.
Exactly. Much better supporting cast. Much superior. Texans have a nice group of talent, really nice group of weapons. So I mean, Carolina, they can go. I'd go back to Bryce though and just see what you got, and then just move off him. Draft another QB. Pull the plug, but you got to find out for real once and for all. Let them play the rest of the year. They have nothing to lose. And
maybe they think that they have. Maybe they think that maybe they think they can salvage him if they sit him down for the rest of the year, let him learn, and then next year he gets another go. Because the thing that no matter how great of a quarterback you have Elway, you have Montana, you could have Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, but if the offensive line is trash, and if the offensive line can't protect, if the offensive line is, if the quarterback's running for his life every time he snaps, it's not so much, it's feel. If he's lost the feel for the pocket, and the second he takes the snap and hits his drop, he's looking to run, he's looking to move, he's looking to scramble.
Yeah.
You can't. It doesn't matter how great of a quarterback you are. If you feel like that pocket, if you have if this is, if you have the pocket like this, right? You have your tackles, your guards, your center, and you're already moving out of the pocket at the snap because you don't trust your offensive line to be able to block for you. I don't care you'd be the greatest quarterback who ever lived. You could be 6'6", 255, built like a tank, but if you can't find your rhythm, if you can't find your rhythm in the pocket, so in a way, I understand. Thinking about this, I understand why you might bench Young to let him learn under a guy like Andy Dalton. When you look at, next year you drop a couple of tackles in the first round, or a tackle and a guard. You might draft a right tackle and a left guard so that you have protection.
Sure.
So that when you go back to Young next year, he can hit his 3-step drop. He can hit his 5-step drop. He can hit his 7-step drop. Look off a linebacker. Throw it in front of a safety. And have he might not have the weapons.
Him gonna make him learn that better. Well, I mean, so you sit him the rest of the year, then just start him week 1 next year.
Well,
that's risky. It's all risky. It's not a good situation all the way. There's no easy option. So I'm not knocking your opinion, but I think that's going to be a tough scenario too. There's no easy way to handle it, really. I mean, I'm saying you can just let him play the rest of the year to see if they're, just give him a final test. Give him 8 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever. Just let him play.
My theory. Well, my thinking of benching him and getting him ready for next year is you don't want him to get hurt.
Yeah.
If he goes out there and he blows out, you don't need to have him rehabbing next spring when you're bringing all these new guys in, you're bringing all these free agents, let's say they were able to pick up somebody in free agents, a Trent Williams or I can't think of offensive linemen off the top of my head.
Yeah, a top offensive lineman, yeah.
Couple of, and they were able to drop 2 top 10, top 5 offensive linemen and rebuild that offensive line. Well, now he's not available for mini camp to go in there and learn with those guys and get a feel for how they're going to protect him because he's rehabbing an MCL, he's rehabbing a collarbone. He's had 6 concussions in the last 6. He ends up on the shelf with concussion syndrome and never plays another snap of football. In terms of the long-term health of the franchise, I understand what you're saying. We're going to have this number 1 pick sitting on the bench. But if you think there's something there that's worth salvaging, you might as well bench him. Work on getting better work on getting the offensive line better. Because I really think that's where
I like the idea.
What it really comes down.
I like the idea now. Just a fresh start next year. Just start over.
Start over at 0. We're going to take the last 2 years. We're going to throw them out the window. we're not changing anything. We're not changing coaches. We're not, obviously there's some things that are out of your control. Like if a coach, if an offensive coordinator if one of the coordinators takes somebody else's job or whatever, that stuff's out of your control. But ideally, we're keeping the same offensive coordinator. We're keeping the same defensive coordinator. We're keeping all the same position coaches. We're not going to change anything. We're just going to build. We're going to take our lumps this year. We're going to work hard. We're going to go out and gut out every game. We're going to try and win. But if we don't win, we have a plan for the future. It's not all doom and gloom. It's not all the end of the world. We'll be once we get to 2025, we're going to start building. They say Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So there are things that Carolina can do next offseason that can start right now. They're not the obvious thing. They're not obvious things like sitting down Bryce Young to let him mature, like we were talking about with Deshaun Watson last night, getting a sports therapist in there to talk to him. Things like that, things that they can do to
Deshaun's not talking. Deshaun's unsalvageable, but I get your drift. I get your point. Bryce Young is.
I agree. I think Bryce Young. I think there's no one.
Yeah, I mean, with injuries and all the mental stuff right now, there's no. Deshaun Watson's never going to be a decent quarterback again, let alone a good quarterback. I don't think Bryce Young can be saved. Bryce Young,
I think so.
Was a top pick. I mean, Alabama pedigree. I mean, there's a way to get him back on the right track. It's going to take just a proper perspective. Like, just maybe wait till next year. It's a little bit more radical, but they should do that.
And it's supposed to, as opposed to just feeding him to the wolves week in and week out and week in and week out, where he just gets killed.
Throwing him to the Sharks.
And even if the Sharks don't have freaking lasers on the freaking heads, they're still feeding him to the Sharks.
With or without lasers.
With or without lasers, indeed. And so maybe if this is just, I understand if you're a Panthers fan, it feels like a wasted pick. Because I understand that. I've been through guys, Joey Harrington, Charles Rogers, Roy Williams, bust after bust after bust. Guys that the national media went, what are we doing? Guys that everyone knew were going to be a bust. And Bryce Young. Bryce Young feels like he could be a reclamation project in Carolina, where they can get the right people in there. They can take the time with him, work with him during the week, have him game ready, keep him game ready in the event that something were to happen to Andy Dalton and he needs to go back in the game. But without that pressure of having to start every single week. And I think that's one of the biggest problems for young quarterbacks is they don't have that pressure of starting every week, right? In college, yes, Bryce went to Alabama, but it's a whole different game when you get to the league, right? That pressure ramps up. Every league, when you're playing Pop Warner, the difference between college or from Pop Warner to high school, and then high school to college, and then college to the pros, in high school, you might face 1 5-star all year. In college, you might face 1 5-star every week. And in the pros, you're facing 15 or 25 stars every single week. These are the best football players in the world. And every single one of those guys is a lot closer to Tom Brady than we are to the worst player in the league. And when I look at a guy like Bryce Young, and I look at he is young, pun intended, and a lot of people, I look at so many of the other guys that went to bad situations: Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, Ryan Tannehill. They get stuck in these crappy jobs.
True.
And then they get out of those crappy jobs, and what happens next? They're all of a sudden a top 10 quarterback.
It's
yeah.
A lot of it has to do with the building that you're in, the sideline that you're on, the locker room you're in. It's culture too. It's coaching and culture. A winning culture, the right quarterback coach. It's a lot of it's upstairs. It's mental. It's just the right chemistry, especially quarterback.
And like when Jared Goff got to Detroit, it was not exactly the second cut. It's not we hadn't signed Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady or anything, and so I wasn't sold on Jared Goff coming to Detroit, but he's really proven that the right, because he was okay in LA. He was okay in LA, but he wasn't the greatest.
Goff,
and
no, he's gotten a lot better in Detroit. Better situation for him.
Yeah. And now he looks like a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah, they're definitely my team to beat, NFC wise.
And they look like the best team in the NFC, at least.
I think it's time someone else emerges from the AFC. Give us a little respite, a little bit of a Mahomes Swifty break for a bit. Let someone else get the spotlight this year. I could see Baltimore coming out this year.
Yeah, I like Baltimore out of the AFC. I think finally to get over the hump and beat
I like Texans a lot early, but they've kind of faltered. Sorry, back to but yeah, I think Baltimore's just it does go a long way, especially in football. They literally are. They're just like the toughest group. They're scary good and they're talented. I mean, if you get like a cold weather game, it's like a 7 p.m. in the snow, or it's dark. I mean, Lamar and Derrick Henry especially, he's built for that. I mean, the addition of King Henry, I think Baltimore maybe gets out of the AFC. There's an array of really, really good teams. So nothing's given, but that's my early like top contender for the AFC, Baltimore.
Yeah, I like Baltimore.
My Baltimore, Detroit, my two tops.
I can't argue with that. No, I like Baltimore and Detroit for this upcoming Super Bowl. It'll be so much fun. Because I really don't see anybody in the league.
Good fan bases, great bases, and then just rugged, more blue collar style. A little Maryland, but I mean Detroit, Motor City.
Yeah,
the Lions should get through. The Hutchinson's awful. There's no way to sugarcoat it. I'm still stunned because I love my favorite positions on the field are like D line. That's what I play, D end. I always love defensive ends, like whether it's Chris Long or Reggie White or LT or I love Max Crosby. He's one of the best. You were saying him the other day. I mean, you nailed it, Adam. I mean, Crosby, personality-wise and skill-wise, would be a perfect fit in Detroit. And then
he'd be a monster.
Hutchinson, him and Hutchinson, dude. I mean, bookend DNs.
That
would be that would be the best ever. Definitely better. I think better than Bosa and Khalil Mack. They can't both.
Oh God, yeah.
Stay on the field. I mean, you put Hutchinson and Crosby on the same football field, going after the same quarterback every play. Good luck. Oh, they would.
Oh, not only
offensive line.
Well, you could do like NHL and have packages for them. You have lines for them. First down is Crosby. Second down is Hutch. Third down is both. Third and long, you have them both out there.
Oh no, they play 90% of the game, bro. They're different positions. They're on different sides. Crosby,
right? But what I'm saying is you could have Aiden in one play, while Crosby's on the sideline, and then rotate Crosby in and keep them fresh and never lose a step. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, but then but they'd be playing a lot. They'd be playing a lot together too. Like that'd be insane.
And then on third down, you have them both in. On third and long, you have them both in.
Oh yeah, they could do that. Yep. No, yeah, you gotta have depth. No, now I know what you're saying. Oh, dude, that would be amazing.
Like
the energy level, the length.
Oh, the high motor,
deflected passes. What's that?
1,000 PBUs. Jesus.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
You have 50 PBUs at the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
Because you wouldn't have to play them together on every single snap. You could rotate them in and out, and then on third and long, then have them both out there.
Oh,
you could start.
They play 90% of the game though. Crosby plays almost
right.
You'd want them on the field together, not rotating, but
well,
you want them
on third down, you want them
as much as possible. They're both
but
every down.
Then you don't. But you don't have to have them. But when you have both of them, you don't have to play them both at 90% of the game. Why
wouldn't you want?
You can rotate to keep them fresh. So in the fourth quarter, they can just tee off.
Yeah, they rotate them, but they play them probably 75-80% each.
Oh yeah, but that's like 15. 15 snaps a week that they're not playing. There's 15 extra snaps in December where they're hot.
Oh yeah.
No.
But yeah, if any team has two pass rushers, they're playing both pass rushers a lot. But yeah, they keep them fresh. Yep.
Yeah, you don't have to. If you have two top 10 pass rushers, the temptation would be to play them both every snap. But you could definitely platoon them and play. Crosby on one series and Aiden on the next, and
if the Lions got Crosby, they would be playing both almost the whole game. But they'll sub him out. But why wouldn't you want your two top players together on the D line?
Because you want to keep them fresh for the fourth quarter. You want to keep them.
Yeah, but they're not.
You want to be able to.
They're not going to be replacing. They rotate people through like as a group here and there, but then they're not going to be subbing Crosby for Hutchinson. They keep them both on the field.
Why not? Not on third.
They're not backing each other up, dude. They would rotate through. They both play 80% of the game. That's an average for both of them. So that's the advantage to getting them. You play them most of the game. They'll rotate like regular guys. Like probably in the second quarter, you see like a new D line come in. That's usually how teams will run it. They'll sub, but you could sub 1-on-1. But I would.
Yeah, why not? Because you could have.
They want them on. They want them on the field as much as possible together. That's why they make.
Well, you could have. You have one package with Aiden at the head, and the next package with Max at the head, and then on third down, you have. So on first down, Crosby goes out, and then on second down, because
the best
Aiden's a better.
Come out, dude.
Aiden's a better run stopper than Crosby. So on running down, you'd want to put your run stopping package with Aiden in, and your screen game package, and then on third down you can have them on third down obvious passing situations, and you have them both in the game, And that way you're not. That way you can keep them fresher longer. So that in the third quarter,
Yeah, but
and late in the game when you need one last pass rush.
They're playing them 80. They both play the highest snap counts in the league. I mean, Hutchinson and Crosby, they play them both. That's like any team with two good pass rushers, man, they're going to want them on the field. But yeah, they'll rotate out like normal guys. They wouldn't sub out Crosby more than anyone else.
No, I'm not saying subbing him out. I'm saying having packages for them. Where on
guy, you're not.
But you don't. What I'm saying is when you're resting them, you're not losing any production, right? You can rotate out Crosby and Hutch without losing the production because one comes out, the other one goes in. That one comes out, the other one goes in. So you're not losing that production. Like if Aiden needs a blow, right? That production goes down, right? Because you don't have a guy of that caliber waiting for his opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, when you have both of those guys, yes, on third down in obvious passing situations, you want them both out there because that's where they eat. But on first down, against a run-heavy team, you might let Crosby rest an extra play. Well, Aiden's out there, and then on second down in a more obvious passing situation, you send Crosby out there so Aiden can have a blow, and so you're keeping them constantly in and out of the lineup. So you're keeping the offensive line on their toes, keeping the offensive coach. So they may end up playing 80% of the snaps as opposed to 95% of the snaps. They're both out there 95%. They're both out there 95% of the time, but they only play together about 10% of the time. So you're constantly keeping.
They would play together 80%. If you trade for a Max Crosby, you're not rotating him out every other play, dude. I mean, they wouldn't rotate with Hutchinson, with Max. They're different sides of the D line. So they would be like in there, they'd be fixtures. They would rotate like a Liam McNeil or any of the other D linemen. They wouldn't say, "Oh, Max is in. Let's take out Hutch." The whole advantage to trading for him is to have both those guys on the field. You want them together as much as possible. But
it gives you options. It gives you options to have other
rest a lot.
Well, and if what I'm saying is okay. So on first down, you'll have them both in the game, right? Because you want that. Because you're not, you want to take. And then on an obvious pass, on an obvious rushing down, you might bring in a heavier unit that's anchored by Hutch because he's a better run stopper. And then on third down, you might take out Hutch and
you got Hutch there, yeah.
And so then you can also do so much more than just running them both at the same time. You can have one out while the other one's in. If
I know.
It's like having it's having two great right wings. You might want to play them both on the same line, but their natural position is the right wing. So one of them's got to play the other
positions, though.
But they play in the and you can give them.
They're two spots.
You can give them different options.
Hutchinson,
right? You can give them.
Yeah. Okay.
You can give them different packages, different looks. You can rotate them in and out with each other without losing production. You might want to unbalance the line to the right side.
Yeah.
So that's going to be.
What's the other?
I forget who the other D end is. Offhand.
No, with McNeil inside the defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
D tackle. It's McNeil, and then who else? Do they have?
I forget.
McNeil. Who's their other pass rusher now without Hutch?
I forget.
They got to upgrade.
Yeah. Well, in the interim, in this year, having Crosby, just run him every down. But next year, the nice thing about having two great D ends is that you can set up packages that exploit what that guy does well. And you force the teams to decide who they want to double. Are they going to double Hutch? They're going to double Crosby. Oh, Crosby's not in. Oh shit, Hutch is not in. And so you might be like you might have a double. You might be like wanting to chip on the one on Hutch's side, and you're going to double Crosby. Well, that holds that tight end a little bit longer, even though Hutch isn't in the game, because you're scheming to have to take away Hutch. Well, he's not in the game right now because we're running a package. Maybe we're running 3 down linemen, 4 linebackers, and we've got a cover linebacker who's going to pick up that tight end. Maybe you're playing Baltimore, and you wanna isolate that line. You want to isolate the linebacker and safety over the top on Mark Andrews. You want to take Mark Andrews away, so you're running more 3-4 as opposed to 4-3. And so you have a package that has Hutch on one side, you have a package that has Crosby on one side, and you can rotate through that all game, and you keep them both fresh for the whole game, so that in the fourth quarter, when you decide to go back to your normal 4-3,
no way,
and now you have them both. Now you have them both teeing off on the quarterback, especially if you're up by 10 or 12 or 13, and you get them, and you're forcing them 7-8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter to have the throw, and now you have both of your premier pass rushers with fresher than the offensive line who have been in the whole game.
Playing 50% of the game?
No, about 80.
I mean, if you get Crosby and Hutch, 90% of the game, we're not going to revolutionize. Suddenly, if they get Crosby, they're not going to. Oh, actually, now each of you are going to play 50%. It makes sense. They would both play 85% of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
they're rotating in and out.
They're the best defenders. Are going to. Yeah, but you're making it sound like Madden, where every other player they can replace each other. It's not. They're both be on the field together. They might change positions up front, but they'll be subbing out like regular guys. I don't know.
But when you sub out, okay,
2 stars, why would two stars splitting time? They're both going to be playing. They're both going to play together. I get the rotation,
but they're both going to. But the thing about it is that you don't have to play them together every single down. You can rotate them out with each other.
You're going to rotate them.
But you don't. But see, the thing about it is when you only have one guy, if they both
rotate with, if you're playing, you have 2 super. Why would you rotate? You're not going to rotate 2 superstars. You rotate them through, so they play a lot together. 2 superstars rushing a passer is better than 1. Wouldn't you want?
But
Crosby,
you want
Crosby or Hutchinson be sitting more? They'd both be playing a ton.
But you wouldn't have to. You wouldn't have to sacrifice as much production to give one or the other a blow. That's what I'm saying, is that you don't have to sacrifice as much production. And if Hutch needs a blow right now, right? Okay. You have to go to the second. So then you're not sacrificing as much production. They're not going to sub in for each other. It's not like, it's if Crosby's on the bench, Aiden's in the game. Not because he's in the game for Crosby, but because Crosby needs a blow. He needs a rest. There's been an 8-play, 65-yard drive, and now we're in the red zone, and we're gonna put Hutch out there for the next couple of plays, and then on especially on first and third down, you'll probably see a lot of them together. But on second down, you can decide which one in whatever the situation decide. Like if it's 2nd and 6 in a run-heavy offense or a short passing offense, where and you haven't been able to get there early, you might want Hutch out there because he's better at coming off of blocks and getting to breaking up screens and knocking passes down. And all the other things that.
No, I see what you're saying.
I'm not trying to upset you.
Ooh, Milwaukee. Oh no, I know. We're with the DNs, like they would get them to have them play a lot together. But I appreciate what you're saying.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's a rotation, but yeah, I mean,
it's not like Crosby's in, Aiden's sitting out. No, Crosby's in because of the package that's designed for him. The scheme that we want to scheme up against this team. So it's especially on first down early in the game, you're going to have both of them in the game. First down, but on second down or third down, you might not have either of them in the game. Like on third and short, on 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, you're probably not going to have either of them in the game. All I'm saying is that he gives you so many options that it makes the best thing. The thing about the thing that defensive coordinator wants to do is give the offensive coordinator nightmares. And having two guys where you can pull a Hutch out and be like, yeah, he's on the bench for now. But our production, our ability to rush the passer hasn't gone down at all. Oh, Crosby's on the bench. Our ability to rush the passer hasn't gone down at all. It's constantly keeping, and it's the ability to keep both of those guys fresh so that in the fourth quarter, when it's crunch time, when it's 21-17 or it's 21-13, and you want to make and you need to stop to get the ball back because you're down by 4 or you're up by 4, and you really want to play both of those guys. So yeah, maybe in the second quarter they rotate in more. They rotate with each other. They one's in, one's out, one's in, one's out, and then on third down they're both in to go after a quarterback.
Cool.
So that in late in games and late in the season, both of those guys, their legs are just that much fresher than an offensive line. That's what I'm thinking about, is keeping those guys fresh for later in the season and later in games.
Yeah.
And
Hutchinson,
but that's also
so yeah, it's definitely something to keep in mind. Regarding
especially
their secondary is really good. Their linebackers are good.
Yep. Especially if Hutch can't come back right away. If he's not ready to come back in week 1 next season, if he's going to need a couple more weeks to get back in the game shape, or even if he comes back week 1, he's not, he's going to need a couple of plays to get, he might need a quarter or two to get acclimated to the speed of the regular season again.
Yeah.
Having a guy like Max Crosby that can absorb some of that load, and what I'm suggesting is the ability to offload some of your pass rush. Oh, is that better?
Sorry, it was sounding muffled for a second. There you go. Perfect.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it'll help.
Cool.
He's back in. If coming back from injury, it'll help fill the gap until he's back from injury too. Yeah, it'd be a great move, but I mean, you'd have to give up a king's ransom, couple number ones.
Yeah,
Crosby's going to.
I would do it though.
A lot of a big return for Crosby.
But I would do it. I'd do it in a heartbeat because I don't know. I would do 2 number ones. I could probably be talking to a number 1 in 2025, a number 1 in 2026, and a 2 in 27, a 2 in 26, and a 2 in 27. Yeah. I think because I really don't think you're going to find 4 guys that are going to be worth that much in the upcoming draft. Compared to the guarantee. Compared to the guarantee that Max Crosby, because when it comes to draft, it's a crapshoot, it's a lottery, and sometimes you come up aces, and sometimes you're rolling sevens the whole night, and You know,
Yeah.
so I think it's worth. I think it, especially if Aiden can come back and be healthy, and they can sign Max to a long-term deal, and those two can wreak havoc for the next decade. Really, I don't think you're. I don't think you're asking. I don't think you're asking too much of the future. Not especially not for a guy like it's not like Max Crosby's 35 on his way out, and like we were talking about yesterday with the Rogers trade, where Rogers was 38 years old.
Yeah,
everybody knew that he was peaked, and his best years were behind him. And Green Bay got a king's ransom for him, while also having a stud waiting in the wings. And so with a Max Crosby, you can make that deal 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a ham sandwich without mortgaging the farm because you expect him to produce worth 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a ham sandwich. Unlike Rogers, who you probably overspent if you traded a ham sandwich for him.
Exactly. Yeah, the expectations are far greater, and then you obviously a key objective would be to lock him up long term. See if Crosby there for like 5 or 6 years.
Yep. Yeah. So that when he
Crosby, then you're set up front for a half decade with Crosby and Hutch. Hopefully longer.
Yeah. Hopefully longer. And then you don't have to draft the DN next year because you already have one.
Certainly not.
And you still have decent draft picks. You've only lost the first next year, so you still have 2 through 7. And then the year after that, you've only lost 2 picks. And the year after that, you've only lost 1 pick. And it's and they're drafting, and
they're not really hitting bucks. They're drafting well. So they have Brian Branch, Jamison Williams. They have young guys that are a good young group. They can. It's not mortgaging the future. You're right.
Anzalone.
Crosby's still not old, so it's
no. So in terms of getting a deal done, that's the deal that. Especially without having to absorb that god awful Deshaun Watson contract for Myles Garrett. Because I think
you have to inherit that. No point.
Because I don't think any GM that values his job is not taking that Deshaun Watson contract for Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
It's a tough scenario.
It really is. And then what you have is you have that god-awful Watson contract that you can't do anything with. And now you have Deshaun Watson's terrible contract, your own quarterback's contract, and Myles Garrett. Woo. I mean, Myles Garrett's probably, Myles Garrett is a quarterback ruiner, but don't get me wrong, Myles Garrett's a great DN. But he's not worth the Deshaun Watson contract.
No. Max would be a lot cleaner of a deal, easy deal to orchestrate. That's the more suitable, the more in demand of the two. It's got to be Crosby, just because it wouldn't have all the baggage of a Deshaun Watson included.
Right.
I'm sure Detroit's thinking about it. Detroit's putting together different ideas right now for the Raiders. I guarantee it. They're trying to get him.
Hopefully, I mean, but the thing about it is the deal has got to be right. It can't be a Ricky Williams type deal where you send all 7 of your picks next year for one guy. No matter how good that guy is.
Yeah.
But in the long short of it, in the short and long of it, I think for the short term, Max Crosby would be a huge asset. And in the long term, looking out 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now, there's not very many guys that they're so young across everything that they don't really need two huge draft class to replace and repair anything. Their wide receiver core is young. The running back core is young. Golf's just turned 30, I think it was. I saw the other day. Or if he's 30, he's gonna. If he's not 30, he's only turning 30 or 29, something like that. Yeah.
He's got another half decade, 5, 6 years,
Easy.
7 years, maybe. I like him a lot. I hope hopefully more. But yeah, point being, like long term, they have a great core long term already. Jameer Gibbs.
They have a great.
Montgomery is a total ball.
Yep.
That guy's such a badass running back, man. Great leader, great inspirational guy, like tough as nails. Dan Campbell. They got the pieces, man. They got the toughness. This is their. You don't want to keep saying next year, but I think this year you don't want to say it too much. But this is a big year.
Yeah. It's huge though. No, I agree. It's a huge year because it really feels like Max Crosby is the missing link. If they go get Max Crosby, I really feel like they're.
You have that void if you don't add someone premier like that, because Hutch is massive shoes to fill.
No, yeah, and I think Crosby is the guy that can fill him.
Of course, yeah, it's a dead ringer.
And then you don't have to rotate. Then you don't have to split playing time between the two, because they're playing on the opposite side of the ball. So it's not like when Hutch comes back that Crosby's going to be losing snaps, because they play on the opposite side of the ball. So in terms of them, the only snaps are going to be the regular snap. They might be on a snap count, or they like a pitch count, right? They only wanted to play 15 snaps on non-passing downs. So, but when Hutch is out because it's not his normal rest down. Oh shit! Look who's in, Crosby. And then when Crosby's out because he's on his normal rest down, look who's in. Oh shit, it's Hutchinson. And then when it's both the regular downs, oh shit, it's both of them. And now you have to leave an extra tight end because you can't double. If you try to double both of them, and then you have to stunt. You have to do a lot more slides. You're gonna leave. You have to leave in a back. You have to chip with a tight end. You throw off the offense's rhythm even just slightly, and then it creates more opportunities on the back end with both of them being great pass, with great hands. If they can't get there, they get their hands up. They're both tremendous at getting their hands up and getting their hands in the face of the quarterback. And even if they don't back the ball, even if they don't knock the ball down, they still impact the play where they cause the ball to be overthrown, underthrown, too far behind, too far out in front. They create havoc even when they don't get there, even when they don't get a paw on the ball. So yeah, that's what I was trying to say, is that their normal rest period. A traditional Hutch would be out. You don't have to sacrifice production for your pass rush because Crosby can go in. When Crosby would be normally out, Hutch can be in. That's what I was saying. They're not some like Madden where you have crazy packages or anything. But you can also do crazy stuff like drop them both into coverage and blitz the linebackers, because they're both big enough and strong enough that they can and fast enough and smart enough they can. What do you?
Oh, they'd have one guy lined up inside too. You could put Hutchinson at D tackle, and then you can't double team two guys back side by side.
Yeah,
They'd
yeah.
do that a lot too, I guarantee.
Yeah.
They'd have all different.
Oh yeah, you could.
They would pull.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Shit. It would be.
Yeah, you could put them. You could put them both on the same side, and have you could put them both on the right side and have one loop all kinds of crazy good shit, man. You could have them both on the same side, have them both start up, and then one of them could drop out and take away something underneath, a running back or a tight end, where that, oh shit, I didn't see him there. I never saw him. Because the last time I saw him, he was barreling down into my chest. And I just threw the ball, because like that's the hot read, wherever the blitz is coming from, right? That's the hot read. And so you want to throw into the blitz.
Yep.
So you might throw you might throw a slant, like because there's going to be a hole in that. There's going to be a void there between because the linebacker is going to be dropping out and the receiver is going to be coming underneath. So you're expecting both the ends to come up the field, right? And then next thing you know, it's going the other way for a 40-yard touchdown because one of the DNs dropped out. All kinds of good shit.
It'd be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it'd be a lot of fun.
Make it happen, Lions.
Yeah, let's do it. Oh yeah, no. Ugh. So you watched the basketball last night? I didn't catch any.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Knicks got trampled out. The Celtics look really good. The Celtics beat them handily, and then the Lakers won. I just gotta get my
did that?
Real quick.
Yeah, you're good. I need to go grab another.
Yeah, I can hear
another pop.
I can still hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
I had to go grab another pop. But I kind of forgot it was on. I ended up playing my drums for a little while. I ended up having to stop because my arms were sore because I played too much Monday. Monday.
Oh, wow.
It's like I played like 3 or 4 hours on Monday, and I went to play last night after we got off here. I was like, I played 2 songs and like, oh god, I'm so sore.
Wow.
Make sure to stretch before I go play today, so that I'm not so sore. Ugh.
You're around tonight, man. We can do a show like 9 o'clock or something. 8 o'clock if you want.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I've been trying to get up around 7:30 in the morning. So,
nice.
Because when I commit to looking for another job, I don't want to go in at 6 o'clock in the morning anymore. I'm gonna look for something in the mid-afternoons.
Yeah. A new schedule could be a good move.
Yeah, I think it'll be better for me to have a more midday, evening shift type working schedule because I just couldn't get up in the morning. I couldn't sleep at night, so I ended up being up till midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and then 5:30 comes way too early. So.
What was the schedule, like 5:30 to 2 or 5:30 to 3?
6 to 4:30.
Wow, that's a long one.
Yeah. It was Monday through Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Don't miss the work, just miss the money.
Uh-huh. We know how that goes.
So yeah, I'm gonna look for something more mid so that I don't have to be up so early,
That's
and
cool.
then I can have my evenings free so that I can keep doing my drumming and my and doing the podcast with y'all on Thursday nights because I don't want to give that up. That's why I stayed with the job that I had for as long as I did. Is because I started doing the podcast with Brad, and he was available on Thursday evenings, and working mids, working 3 to 11 or 2:30 to 10 or 2:30 to 10:30 or whatever. By that, it's too late, and you can't just when you're working a factory, you can't randomly ask for a Thursday off. So I'm not going back to factory work. I'm going to find something else, probably retail or hospitality or something like that, and just work like 10 to 3:30 Monday through Friday. Yeah, that's what I want to do. But right now I'm on unemployment and working my other jobs, so and doing this and playing drums and looking for a band and trying to get better every day.
Nice, man. There you go, brother. It's all it's about, man. At the end of the day, get better every day.
Yep. No, I honestly don't miss getting up at the ass crack of dawn, putting on my heavy ass boots and going and standing in a factory for 10 hours a day.
I've been there. It's rough. It's an early morning too. And I'm a night owl too. I don't know. I was fortunate enough to work remotely just on my computer and recruiting, but company 2 weeks ago. So same boat, So now I'm pretty true to collect as well. Then just look for something big, better out there.
Are you going to try to do that again and find somewhere else to do from home recruiting, or are you?
I really like working in sales. I've done recruiting for like 10 plus years, so just finding
cool.
It was good. It's tough because I was doing a good job. It just was company budget constraints, so they let just the people that were working everyone out of state from the company got let go. So just one of those things.
Yeah,
now that I'm injured, it's like if there's good timing for it, it's now because now I can just kind of relax for a couple days. Get yourself right before and then get back out there. So it's kind of good timing that it happened.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to start stream. I knew you were gonna be available because you were gonna be down.
I'm ready, man.
And I can't stream on my own. I've tried, but I suck.
Man. We should do another one tonight.
We could talk about it.
We can keep going right now, but we can let's try to go on later. We can do it anytime. Maybe even like 10 o'clock.
Definitely.
Whatever's good for you, man. I'm around.
Okay, I'll hit you up if we hit on something good, because I kind of feel like after 2 hours we're kind of burnt out. So I'm kind of figuring keeping this to about 2 hours for today. Because I noticed yesterday about 1:30 after about an hour and a half we were kind of running out of things to say. So
I figured this week coming up. Let's look at the schedule.
Yeah, pull up the schedule. Go over that real quick.
Oh, is it good? Yeah, you want me to pull it up? There you go.
Yeah, you pull it up. I'm gonna go use the bathroom again. I made lunch and it was good, but it's not sitting happy.
Yeah, man. And go for it.
Isn't it? I think Georgia and Tennessee this week in Athens, right? That's going to be a fun one.
Deion traded to the Chiefs.
Yeah, I saw that. I forgot. We got talking about other things. Yeah, Deion to the Chiefs.
Yep.
Talk about the rich just getting richer.
Yeah, Tennessee looked really fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Is Nebraska decent this year or not? They're playing at Ohio State.
They're going to get slaughtered.
Notre Dame at Navy, Washington and Indiana. Indiana's much.
Washington.
That might be a good matchup.
Yeah, that should be a good one. I like Indiana by 3. I really hate the Irish.
Illinois at Oregon.
Oregon by 25.
Yeah. I mean, looking from afar, just my first glance at the Saturday schedule. I mean, what sticks out to me? Mizzou at Alabama.
That should be a fun one.
14 points. 14-point spread, man. I might do Mizzou. I think Mizzou will play them close. They've both been so erratic. Who knows?
Yeah.
You got your Spartans on.
Yeah, I like
you got to take care of them at home.
God, yes.
LSU at Texas A&M. 8 versus 4.
Ooh, that'd be a fun one.
I like LSU.
Is that
at College State.
LSU by 4? What's the spread in that game?
Yeah, LSU. It's LSU at Texas A&M. It's Texas A&M favored -2.5.
Give me LSU to cover. I think LSU wins outright.
Yeah, I like LSU.
I think LSU wins outright.
I like LSU there. This is another nice battle. Same spread too. Kentucky -2.5 at home. Kentucky's hosting Auburn.
I like Kentucky.
Yeah, same here.
Kentucky. Auburn's just been too up and down, too inconsistent.
Yep. Gosh, Vanderbilt ranked 25th. Top 25 ranking for Vanderbilt. Hosting.
Watch out, man. Come.
Texas favored by 18.5.
18.5, huh?
That's a lot of points.
Give me Vanderbilt to cover. I think Vandy covers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if Vandy
loses
by 16, you still win the bet.
Yep. And if they lose by 17, you still win the bet.
Let's see.
And that's to lose by 19 or more.
All the way up to that number.
I don't.
You the underdog. Yep.
Indeed. I don't know about Texas.
I got my FanDuel out right now.
Hell yeah. I don't know about Texas because
I love these 50 here, 60 there.
Because I like.
Yeah, man. It depends. Are they going to Manning or was that just for? Was that coach?
Yeah, it was for one series.
I thought Quinn Ewers was like one pick.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, they wanted. I didn't like the move because now yours has got to. Indeed, and now yours has got to be like, if I'm not perfect, I'm getting benched, right? Christ.
Yeah, it's weird. Weird move.
It was incredibly weird. It was just gross. I didn't like it. Not unless you're gonna go all the way. If you're gonna go to Manning, you stay with Manning. You go to Manning and you don't change. But they come out of the locker room and went back to yours. And it makes no sense. It's like, what the hell are we doing?
Yep.
There we go. That's better.
Quite the entrance. Huge sigh of relief.
What's that?
I said that quite the entrance. You had a huge sigh of relief. You're like, all right, well.
Yeah, much better. But yeah, no, I definitely was wondering why they went to Manning if they weren't gonna. If they weren't gonna stay with him in the second half, you know.
Yeah, it's true. Good point. Yeah, it was a little bit interesting. You think
And I think
Hopkins can
Georgia.
help the Chiefs at all?
I don't think he'll hurt. No, I think it'll
Yeah,
be
he's
good.
a
I
little
think
older
it'll be
now,
good.
but
He's a
yeah,
wily veteran. He's a wily veteran. Um, and that's the thing that Kansas City really needs is another weapon for Mahomes.
yeah.
They have to definitely,
Rashee Rice. They'll slide
yeah.
right in.
If I'm a Chiefs fan, I like the deal. I think they got one for what, third or a fourth?
Fifth.
Well, fifth. Jesus.
32 coming off injury, but still, he's been playing pretty decent this year. It's just stuck with Will Levis. So now you got
Yeah.
Mahomes. I mean, nice upgrade.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like, that's a shitbox to a Ferrari, man.
For sure.
It's a bit of an upgrade. A bit of an upgrade. So.
Wow, Embiid already out. So you think,
What's that?
Buckeyes will definitely take care of Nebraska. Nebraska's that good freshman quarterback, but not much else.
Yeah, not much else. They got thumped by IU last week. It's like 52-7.
Wow, not a good look.
Yeah.
Wow,
not
the best of looks.
No, they got
no bueno.
Oh, no bueno. They got walloped. But this is fun. I think this is going to be a fun stretch in college football where teams who like IU, like Vanderbilt, like Army, Navy, they can have some halfway decent recruiting classes and make some hay in college football.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited to see what.
Got another. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
What happens going forward? What happens to the rest of them?
Who's that?
They got Tennessee this week, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, let me look it up.
I think they're in Athens this weekend.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that.
What's that?
Who likes the schedule? Let's see. No, nothing until they're off. They have a bye this week.
Oh, okay.
They host Kentucky Saturday, November 2nd. They're back in action against Kentucky at home. Tennessee.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay. So who does Georgia have this week? Is this
Tennessee's Tennessee travels to Georgia on Saturday, November 16th. Tennessee at Georgia.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Jesus.
That'd be a hell of a good game.
Yeah. Who'd you want, Georgia? You want to know who Georgia?
Yeah. Yeah. Who's Georgia got this week? Or are they off as well? We're hacking into the mainframe.
My gimp foot. I'm typing up a storm over here, like totally out of foot elevated. Just such a funky posture I got going on right now.
Dude, it was the worst.
Yeah, it looks like they're off. They're hosting Florida again.
Okay, do they host Florida on the 2nd?
Yeah, they host Florida November 2nd. Then Georgia goes to Ole Miss on the 9th, and then Georgia hosts Tennessee on the 16th. That's huge. Tennessee Tennessee, Georgia, man. Two of my favorites that I've seen this year.
For the first time in
if this freshman quarterback plays, they could beat anyone if this quarterback plays well.
Well, I was going to say for the first time in about 25 years since Manning left, that Georgia, Tennessee is actually going to be a game that means something to these teams, other than pride. A game that actually matters.
That's interesting.
A game that actually matters for something, because of course it doesn't matter how good or bad you are. You want to beat your bitterest rival, but it's so much more fun when the game means something. When you're 8-3 and the only thing you can hang your hat on is beating your rival. It really doesn't spark confidence in anybody. Oh.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, it's not exactly like we're, and then you look like a bunch of dorks when you go rushing the field after beating your rival when you're 8-3. Or 9-3 or whatever. Oh, that's better. I'm gonna put some sweatpants on. I'm cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a jacket down here. And it's finally cooled off down here, so I am super excited about that because now I don't have to worry about it being hot and running the AC. I'm blowing through my electric budget. I much prefer it to be cold than hot. Because then I don't have to run the AC and blow through my electric budget. And now I am all bundled up and nice and warm. I even have a blanket if I decide I want the blankie. There we go. I went for a jog this morning.
Yeah, it's always
and it was cold out there. It's like, this is nice. I like jogging when it's cold.
Uh-huh.
That's why I want to start working That's why I want to start working mid-afternoons, so that I can still get up in the morning and go have a jog and not have be out of work by 3 or 4 and have a couple hours to come home and do nothing before I got to go back to work, and then be able to sleep whenever. Because I don't like going. I don't know. You said you were.
Do you have a night job? Do you have a night? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
No, I was just gonna say, you said you were a night owl, so you don't like going to bed before midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, unless you're like super tired.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like if I'm doing something fun, like if I get up early to go do something fun, like if I want to go like fishing in the morning, so I get up at the ass crack of dawn and go fishing, and then I'll be like super tired that night, and I'll go to bed early. But I prefer to get up around 7:38, because then I can sleep. Then I can stay up till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning and still get a halfway decent amount of sleep.
Yep, it's true.
And I don't know about you, but I always hated, even when I was working the one job, I still had trouble getting up at 5:30 in the morning driving to work to be at work all day. It was like, this sucks. Especially with where I worked, and there was no natural light, so it felt like being in a coffin the whole time. And so I hated working there, and so I'm glad I'm out of there.
Yeah, you're better off. It's all about just bouncing back into something better. That's all we can do.
Yeah. That's the ideal. Finding something is equally or better. I'm not too worried about it. I'll figure it out. Everybody was like freaking out when I told them that I'd gotten fired, and they're like, "You're surprisingly calm." I was like, "No, I'm the one that's got to figure it out. No sense in panicking. I'm gonna go and start doing dumb shit and rob a bank or something. Not gonna make me off any, not gonna leave me off any better than I already am.
not the right
Give me all my money. All right, crime doesn't pay. As long as crime only pays you as long as you don't get caught.
Exactly.
I'm too pretty for prison, so.
Exactly.
I cracked myself up. But yeah, no, I know.
Playing drums later?
Yeah. I was planning on playing drums when we get off here.
Nice.
I figure we get off here about 3 o'clock for now, and then
NFL games for this.
Yeah, let's do that.
Go over NFL games. NFL.
Yeah,
NFL
and then we'll
for Sunday. You got the list?
No, I don't. You pull it up, it'd be great.
Okay.
And then we'll do our NFL picks and get out of here for now. I thought I would go take a nap.
That's what you're gonna do?
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna do our NFL picks and I'm gonna go catch a nap.
Just took the Milwaukee Bucks for this evening.
All right.
In Philly. All right, let's see what we got NFL.
All right. What's tomorrow night's game? Yeah. Damn mail clippers.
All right, here we go. 1 second. Gotta get the schedule. Just moving on a little bit more gingerly than usual.
Yeah.
Here we go. Come on. Oh, yeah, tomorrow night, Minnesota in Los Angeles playing the Chargers. No, sorry, my apologies, the Rams. So it's Minnesota, Sammy Darnold in town to play against Matthew Stafford and the Rams. And McVay, who I can't stand. Minnesota. It's the line's Minnesota -3. Who do you like, Minnesota in LA?
I like Minnesota. I think they're a top 5 team. I think they bounced back. They were that close to beating Detroit. I like Minnesota.
Yep, same with me. Next up, okay, now we're on the 1 o'clock slate for Sunday. Okay. The Eagles, fresh off a big win in New York at Joey Ice. Eagles visiting Cincinnati. Who do you like?
Eagles. Not even close.
Yeah,
Eagles by 10.
Light it up. Defense questionable for the Bengals. Something's off in Cincinnati. Eagles by 10.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got them by like 7. I'll go up to 10.
Okay.
I'm definitely betting them too. I'm going Eagles. All right, next up, team we've been talking a lot about, Lamar and King Henry. Ravens are visiting, the home of Deshaun Watson, Cleveland Browns. Baltimore at Cleveland. It's Baltimore -9 is the line. I like Baltimore by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, Baltimore by 100.
Jameis Winston probably playing for the Browns. Might be a little fun to see.
That'll be interesting.
Next up, Tennessee at your boys at the home of Motor City. Titans at Lions.
Last I saw it was 11. I saw Detroit by 11.
I'm going. That's a lot because even if they win by 10, they don't cover.
Correct. No.
I don't know. I'm still excited, but I'm not in love with that number.
You think it's too high?
Yeah, like for instance, I'll bet the Eagles game. I won't do probably Baltimore too, but I won't do Detroit because again, if they play like B-, like not up to the greatest expectations, and they win by 8 or 10, you're still not covering. Tennessee can still Tennessee's got some talent. They're not completely rock bottom. They're rock bottom, but they're not like woeful.
They just let go. They just let go of. They just let D-Hop go to Kansas City.
Yeah.
I like Detroit minus 11.
More than 11?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'd be like 37, 11.
Or either way.
Yeah. I like Detroit, but I no, that's fine. I just think that I think they cover and they cover well.
Interesting next one because Arizona actually showed some life. They won their Thursday night national TV game over the Chargers. Now they go on the road at Miami with no quarterback. So I'm going Arizona there. It's Miami minus 3.5. Is Tua's not back, is he?
No, Tua's supposed to be back, but I like your.
Whoa.
Yeah,
okay. I'm taking Arizona.
I'm still on Arizona. I agree with you because I don't think that
about them.
I just don't like Arizona or Miami. No, you're good. I just don't like Miami with Tua coming back yet, and I want to see a game.
I don't like them at all.
Before I'm back on the Dolphin hype train, because I just don't know about Tua coming back from. Coming back from concussion, I just don't. I don't know if he'll be ready yet. So
no, I don't like.
I like Arizona.
I don't like. I'm off Miami fully. I never bought into them really. They're like a fantasy team with shiny weapons. Yeah. Tua injury. McDaniels is like smug. I mean, I'm just not a Miami guy. I think Arizona will hang with them, even with Tua back. There's something off in Miami right now. I think that kind of. I don't know. With the Tua uncertainty, I mean, I think they're going to take a step back the next couple of years.
Right.
Next up, we got Jets. Can they finally win a game sometime this season at New England? Who always gives them problems, but totally different rosters. No Belichick and Brady, but I'm taking the Jets. Jets minus 7 in New England. Are you
Jets minus 7? I'm taking the Jets, but New England will cover. 7's a lot.
Tough too.
I don't know if that
recent years.
Yeah, it'll be low scoring. It'll be like 13-10 or some god awful thing like that.
Yeah. Next, Atlanta at Tampa. It's Atlanta. Atlanta's minus 2.5. Yeah, Tampa lost Mike Evans.
And Chris Godwin
for a couple weeks is out, and Chris Godwin's out for the year. I'm gonna have to take.
Yeah, I like Atlanta.
No, I'm still gonna take Tampa Bay. I think there are other receivers.
Okay. Yeah, I like Baker. I like
Tampa Bay at home.
Okay. I like Baker.
Next up, Green Bay.
I like what he.
You like Baker?
Yeah, I do. But I don't know if he's enough to overcome the wide receiver injuries.
Yeah, 2 awesome receivers. That's massive. I don't know. I think
It's huge.
I mean, I'm still going to take them to like eke out a close field goal game. I don't know. I don't feel good about it though. Next will be Green Bay at Jacksonville.
Green Bay by 50.
It's Green Bay minus 4.5.
Yeah, Green Bay. Take Green Bay and the points.
I'll take Green Bay. Next up, Indianapolis at Houston. I'm taking Houston minus 5.
Yeah.
I think Houston by a touchdown. They cover that by a touchdown.
Yeah.
I'll go Houston. We're in agreement there. New Orleans at Chargers. Chargers minus 7. Minus 7.
Wow.
So that means if New Orleans loses by 6, you win New Orleans. That's a close one.
Yeah. That's tough. I do like the Chargers, but I think New Orleans covers.
Yeah, I'll take New Orleans plus 7. They just got to keep it within 7.
Yep.
And
I think they can.
Play defense. So, yep.
They can.
This is a good game. Buffalo minus 3. Buffalo at Seattle. Pacific Northwest. That's a good matchup. Bills Seahawks.
I like Buffalo. 3.5 sounds about right.
Yeah, Buffalo minus 3. Yeah, I'm taking them too. Carolina clash with the Titans. Carolina at Denver. Heavyweight alert.
Denver. Oh God, yeah.
Denver minus.
Must see football.
Broncos are minus 9. Minus 9 points. Wow, that's a lot. I'll take Carolina plus 9.
Minus 9 must not see football.
All right. Next
no,
up, Mahomes and the referees versus at Las Vegas. The Chiefs and the refs traveling to Las Vegas together. Same flight. Minus 10. I like the Raiders to keep it within 10. Raiders lose by 8 or 7, I think. You think Chiefs just blow the doors off?
Yeah, I kind of feel like the Chiefs. I think this is Max Crosby's farewell party. I think the Raiders just get thumped, and they blow it up and start over. And Max is on his way to Detroit.
There we go. Make it a reality. Get on those phones. All right, here we go. Chicago Bears visiting. Oh, you got number 1 versus number 2, the draft picks, the quarterbacks. Caleb Williams with the Bears versus at Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. Chicago minus 2.5. I'm taking the Commanders here. In Washington, I'm taking Commanders. I'm taking Jaden Daniels.
If Daniels plays, I like Washington. If Daniels doesn't play, I like the Bears.
Oh, that's right. I'm on the same bandwagon. I'm on the same boat as you. I didn't realize Daniels might be out. I knew he was banged up last game. He might be out.
Yeah, I haven't heard. Yeah, I've heard he could be out. I haven't heard if he's gonna go or not.
Okay. Next
and
up,
if he doesn't,
them Cowboys are on the road again. They're playing in San Francisco. Niners by 4.5, minus 4.5. I think Dallas keeps it a field goal game. I'm going Dallas. Not to win, but to cover. 4.5. Could be a 27-20.
Could be
28-24.
Yeah. 27-24, something like that.
Yeah. Agreement there.
I think San. Yeah, I like
Dallas
that.
is good at doing that. I think they'll play within a field goal or 4 points. Dallas, love them or hate them, they will play on the road. They'll play San Fran. That'll be a good matchup. It'll be pretty close.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah.
And then
it could stay close.
Monday night you got the Giants, Daniel Jones and the beleaguered Giants traveling to Pittsburgh to take on Russell Wilson.
And the rest of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're not just going to let. They're not going to. They're not going to make it.
I'm kidding. Russell Wilson is like the 94th most talented Steeler. It was a bad joke. I fell flat.
No, I was just playing. I was playing off your joke. You said Russell Wilson, and then you didn't say the Steelers. So I was just playing off what you said, because you said they're going to let the rest of the Steelers play too. Don't worry.
Yeah, Russell Wilson should not be near a football field, but he will be starting a quarterback. I mean, I think they'll win that.
I think they'll win that going away.
So it's too many points. So by 6.
No, I think that sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think the Steelers easily cover. I think they win by 10 or 15. The Giants have been so god awful the last 6 weeks.
They really are.
They just haven't shown any fight. I mean, they get it seems like 1 week they have their shit together, and the next week got their shoes tied together. And I just, it's just like, yeah,
they went to Seattle and beat Geno Smith, and then they're getting their shit kicked in again.
Right. Like, they seem to be good against teams that are on their level, like equally bad teams. Like, they'll play the Broncos tough, they'll play the Browns tough, they'll play the Panthers tough, they'll play the Saints tough. But when they get in against good teams like Philly, they don't know whether to come or to go. Shit or go blind. And no, I like Minnesota. Yeah. I like Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh in a laugher. I think it'll be pretty uneventful.
Yeah. So that's the slate. That's the slate right now. Be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. This is the unfortunate thing about making the schedule 6 months in advance. Yeah, hopefully get some new deals done. That's the only unfortunate thing about making the schedule 6 months in advance. Is you don't really know who's going to be bad and who's going to get hurt and flame out, and who's going to surprise the league and be better than anybody thought they had the right to be. So now you end up with games like Detroit and you end up with games like Detroit and Minnesota on regular non-primetime games, and then the primetime game is Pittsburgh and New York, the Giants. Because of course it is. Probably one of the best games of the year was a local game, and some of the worst games of the year end up being national primetime games. Like, so, like, you can't, that's the only unfortunate thing about about having the season be made up so far in advance. The only thing, the other leagues, like with the NHL and NBA, you have 82 games, but they're all, like, if you like those sports, like I noticed that a lot of people that like the NBA or the NHL like the game, they're just happy that there's a hockey game or a basketball game. They're good with that. But with with fans that like the NFL or football, it's like, they want good football. Every game has to be, because there's so few football games. Like, even if you have a bad hockey game, you just play again in a couple of days and move on.
Yep.
But because there's so much national media and national scrutiny around football, and the NFL isn't afforded any just mediocre or bad games. Because it always seems like those bad games are the games that everybody gets left with. Like I was stuck with I was stuck with Atlanta and Seattle, and that game was a dog. It was sucked. Atlanta got dog walked by Seattle, and that game just wasn't entertaining. And Detroit and Minnesota was probably the best game of the year so far, and only the local TV markets got that game. Everybody else got their local game. And then when Detroit, when Detroit does play in prime time, they fucking spank the shit out of the Cowboys. So that's always fun. I was never an avowed Cowboys hater, but God, their fan base makes me hate the Cowboys.
Yeah, they're rough.
To me, that's the most clueless fan base in sports.
They're just so annoying. I can't do it.
I hear you
with Gerald, like on Lou's show, and Lou's more of a passive Cowboys fan. He doesn't get too riled up, but I'd go at it with Gerald. It's been a good rivalry though, but yeah, it gets a little grating after a while because it's always their year, but it never is. So it's a little confusing for other fans.
And not only that, but they're always so arrogant. They're just know-it-alls,
Yeah.
They're just the most insufferable fan base because they think they know better than everybody. And they think that it's just, well, so many of them are stuck in the 90s. Like back in the day you could, and I think this is a thing for a lot of football fans, is that, back in the day you could just go get a guy. Why didn't we just sign him? And now with the salary cap and with, all of that, and not being able to just sign whoever, like they were like, why didn't we just sign Derrick Henry? And it's like, yeah, that's great. You want in one hand, shit in the other, and it's like if Derrick Henry didn't want to sign in Dallas, he doesn't have to sign in Dallas. It's not like it was back in the day where you could just throw $100 million at somebody, and then obviously it wasn't like in 1993 where you could just give someone $25 million a year for 2 years. And because there was no salary cap, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And go out and buy a championship. It's so much different now. You actually have to go out there and be a good GM and play good football all year. And you have to work at it a little bit. Ugh. And I think that's the problem for Jerry, is that he's still stuck in 1995. Because back in the Cowboys' heyday, you could just do that. You did that. You could just go out and sign whoever you wanted, offer them $100 million, and you could outbid the league. And now with the salary cap, you have to compete with the other 31 teams in the league.
Yeah,
and
totally different.
It's really diversified. It's the fact that in 3 years, Detroit can go from the basement to the penthouse and look like a Super Bowl contender.
Yep. Quicker turnarounds that way.
Yeah, I love it. I love the fact that, if you can get the right quarterback, you can be competitive in 3 years. And you build a good offensive line and a competent You know, they don't have to be world beater all pro defenses, but just competent defenses can win. You know, you have a competent defense and a good quarterback and a good offensive line that can protect that quarterback and keep the defense honest because you can run the ball a little bit. And you're a playoff team.
Yeah. Those are the steps it takes.
Mm-hmm. All right, bud. Should we hop off here for now and come back on in a little bit?
Yeah, sounds good, man. Keep me posted later on. I'm around.
Yeah. All right.
All right, bud.
Talk to you in a bit.
Man. I'll talk to you later. See ya.